Yo guys, Mike from Sim Racing 604, and welcome to Assetto Corsa Competizione with my fancy new MOZA Racing R21 Wheelbase. Yes, MOZA has sent me this for review. It is my most powerful wheelbase, 21 Newton meters of peak torque coming from this bad boy. Not sure why I keep giving it the double slap. This baby gets 10 Newton meters to the ampere. Anyway, we're here in ACC, going to do a 20-minute race just to sort of share my thoughts, my initial thoughts on this wheel. I've had it for, I guess, about a week. I said wheel, I meant wheelbase. Probably not the last time you will hear me make that mistake. And yeah, so I've had it for about a week, had lots of time to try it in different sims and get the settings dialed in. I'm still not all the way dialed in with my settings, but I've got it to a pretty good point right now to my liking. What do I like to feel? Generally, I like to have not much resistance in the rotation of the wheel. Shouldn't have to work too hard to make a corner, of course, but you also want to feel, or I want to feel, when the car is understeering due to, the brakes locking or any other reason. As you go over a bumpy curb, I like to feel that. Little bit of road surface through the wheel, not a whole lot. It's kind of how I have this dialed in right now. So, what are my impressions of the MOZA Racing R21 wheelbase? And by the way, I'm running it with the FSR wheel, in case you're interested. I'm extremely impressed. Extremely impressed. I generally like MOZA Racing's products. I think, they've come in sort of with, I wouldn't say budget in mind. They're still quite expensive products, but at the same time, I think for the price, compared to a lot of other offerings on the market, they did deliver a lot, and I would say that it's no different with this R21. So they have dropped the price versus the outgoing R21. This is the version 2, and the previous one, if I'm not mistaken, was at the $1,200 price point. This one closer to $1,100. And I believe they also dropped the price of the R16 from the outgoing model as well. So quite exciting stuff from MOZA. I did not expect the price to go down. Again, they're sort of targeting, not necessarily being known as the most prestigious line of sim racing hardware, but at the same time known for quality and, good bang for the buck. So I did not expect the price to fall. I thought we might see a small price increase as it went to version 2, and that has not come to bear, actually. They dropped the price by $100, so that's pretty good. That's close to 10% off the previous price. So pretty interesting news. And so my previous most powerful wheel in the MOZA lineup was their R9, and this one has over double the torque. You double it, you get 18, and there's 3 more torques, a whole G29 in between that and where this R21 peaks at. So does it make a difference? Yep, you bet. And I'll get into more of that when I do my full review. This is just kind of a talk and drive scenario. And yeah, so that, massive bump in peak torque does make a difference. I would say that the torque, you get to a point of diminishing returns for sure in terms of the peak torque rating, and I would say going from like a G29 or a T128 or something like that to a CSLDD or a MOZA R5, that's going to blow your hair back, and you're going to wonder how you ever did without it. The jump from sort of a mid-tier, 8 to, let's say, 11 Newton meters of torque up to this 21 is not nearly that difference. You can definitely feel the difference for sure. Not in the sort of standard driving resistance of the wheel, but in how it reacts to road bumps. You can definitely tell, but I would say the difference is not as dramatic. Going from say 8 to 10, 8 to 11 Newton meters of torque to 21. That difference is not as much as going from like 2 or 3 to 5, because you get into the direct drive wheel market at around 5. Your CSLDD, your R5 comes in at 5 Newton meters, of course. and that is a big jump. Again, that's gonna make you wonder how you ever did without. And this is not that. This is not the oh my goodness, how was I sim racing without this? This is like, you know, oh my goodness, I didn't think it could get better, but it does. So that's kind of my initial impressions, but I'll get into more of that when I get into my full review, which I hope to have very soon. I've had time to write it. I have not had time to record it, but that will be coming very soon. Where am I in this race? 13th of 24 and 15 minutes to go, so decent chance of a podium here at Kyalami. And yeah, it's performing very well. I've done some long tests. I was filming some B-roll for another video and put it through, I guess, just a little over a half hour worth of pretty intense work. And yeah, no signs of heating. It stays nice and cool and quiet. And something else you can hopefully notice in the video is that it's got a nice shape. One of my biggest complaints about the sort of current generation of wheelbases is they just did away with good-looking wheelbases. Like, I would say the G29 is a nice-looking wheelbase. I think they bothered with design on that, and it's, you know, tapered in from a couple angles and just shows a nice sense of style, whereas the CSLDD, as much as I love it, or the MOZA R5, R9, you know, the Simagic line, I think I reviewed the Mini from the Alpha Mini rather, from the Simagic line. They're boxes. Even SimuCube. I know people love SimuCube, and deservedly so, but yeah, that design is nothing. It's just a black box. Give me some angles, give me some colors. And MOZA's done a little bit of that. Not too much color. It's not, you know, overbearing by any means, but they did give it a little bit of color, and they also, you know, tapered the design. They made it look good. So, special shout out for that. Whoa, 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 just about lost it there. So, you're probably wondering, what is the difference? When you get this high in torque, when you get up, you know, 20 plus, what do you feel that you can't feel at sort of the lower levels of torque? Well, it comes down to response speed, how fast that shaft can twist, and that is what your higher peak torque ratings get you. So the bumps can be translated into your hands through your wheel, obviously, at a much more precise rate, because the shaft can move just that much faster. So when the game is telling the wheel that, you know, this is a bump and this is the sort of frequency we use for that style of bump, while the higher peak torque motors can deliver that more precisely. And you do get into other factors, and again, just keep teasing this review, but I will talk a little bit about sort of the downside of having this much torque. But yeah, the downsides are relatively few, but the upsides are quite high, I would say. There's a reason sort of the most respected, most well-loved, higher-end wheels on the market, why they use higher peak torque motors. So a lot of people think, and I get this question all the time, you know, why would I want some big DD motor? I don't even run my G29 at full strength, or I don't even run my whatever, T150. Whoa! That was mostly that guy's fault. You know, you have a smaller, you know, entry to mid-tier wheel, and you don't use it at full strength. Why do you need more strength than that? Well, it's not about what you're feeling in game. Like, I can turn this wheel around that corner, even though it has 21 Newton meters of torque. I can turn that around that corner just as easily as I could a G29, give or take. But what's different is, like, when I'm driving along this road surface here, I can feel these bumps. It's just making, whoop, that was a big violent movement. I was going to say it's making these little movements, but it needs me to be hands-on. But anyway, it can translate those road bumps, those road surface bumps, with incredible fidelity. And again, there is that point of diminishing returns where, you know, is 22 significantly better than 21? Not really. Is 25 significantly better than 21? Probably, but you're getting less and less out of it as you go up. And then you know, there's some wheelbases on the market that are as high as 30, and it's like, is that better than the 21? Definitely. Is it that much better than a 25? It's probably, to most users, hardly perceptible. I've only used one wheel, and only for a very short period of time, that was in that 30 range, and it felt absolutely phenomenal, don't get me wrong. But I think the difference between something like this, you know, with a decent tune to it, spend some time setting it up properly, and that well-tuned 30-ish Newton meter motor that I tried, is there a huge difference? No, not really. It's actually, quite frankly, quite close. I think, you know, a lot of it comes down to how well-tuned it is. Now, with that said, probably if you had that 30 Newton meter motor and spent equal time tuning that, you could get it feeling considerably better than this. But all I'm saying is it's going to matter less, the difference in peak torque, the higher you get sort of in torque count. I think I messed that whole thing up, but I hope you understand what I'm saying. At the lower end, each Newton meter matters more. There you go, Mike. Why didn't you just say that from the start? Alright, so I am 10th and about halfway through the race, a little past halfway in the race, so got some work to do, but it looks like there's a cluster of cars. I was going to say bunch, but cluster sounds cooler because it's alliterative. So I'm going to hunt these folk down, try and get some overtaking done. But yeah, I would count this as another W for MOZA Racing. There's nothing really I have to complain about. It's delivering exactly what I wanted it to deliver. It's hard to review a wheelbase because it just kind of does something. I hate reviewing wheels too, because it's like, it's a wheel, you hold it and you turn it. If it's the best it can do is the job it promised to do, right? You know, and you get into thinking about like the pit house software for MOZA and how well it lets you tune your force feedback profile, and that definitely factors in, and I'll get into that more. But yeah, overall, I mean, it's a wheelbase and it's very powerful and it functions and it looks pretty. So another victory, I would say, for MOZA Racing, and that's after a long string of victories. I'm not seeing as many R5s as I thought I would. I thought that bundle would sort of be an entry point for a lot more people than it has become. No, spin right round, baby.
Got some light damage at the front of the car.
Do I? Alright, so there goes my chance for a podium. But that's fine. I am 14th. I'm sure I can claw my way up to 5th. Right? Yeah, let's try for that. Let's try for top 5. I think I can get it. But yeah, very happy to have this. And will this replace my CSLDD with boost kit, which is kind of the wheel I've settled on most recently? At least for the time being, it will. I will probably eventually want to go back just because console compatibility is still slightly a factor in my world. I'm probably 95% PC racing, but I do love my GT7. So MOZA Racing currently does not offer console compatibility, which is a major bummer, and quite frankly cutting off a section of the market that I think they could have an impact in, but hopefully they get there. I don't understand how a company like PXN can get there before MOZA. It really makes no sense. No disrespect to the people at PXN, but at the same time, I feel like MOZA has a bigger sim racing sort of, not cachet, what am I trying to say, market presence than PXN. And PXN is compatible with everything that's ever been released in electronic form. You could probably hook that up to your old school Atari and it would work. Don't try that. But anyway, yeah, so hopefully MOZA gets there soon, because I think the R5 bundle will be a great solution for a lot of GT folk. Alright, look at that. Didn't bin it. Watch me go. Alright, traction control down, ABS down. Time to party. So yeah, look for the review hopefully this weekend. By the way, thank you everyone for your support for the podcast. It's been great so far. Just taking a little time to get caught up. The Jimmy Broadbent one is taking longer to edit than I thought it would. The man used some words that I cannot share on YouTube, so I had to take those out. But it looks like that'll be available on Spotify pretty soon, so look out for that. I'll drop links when it's time, but yeah, making things happen. Also, what has one thumb and is making things happen on track? This guy. That's right, I am climbing up. I am back to 11th already, and this Lambo does not stand a chance.
Car on the right. Clear on the right.
No contact, no contact. It was close,
Car on the right.
but I managed to sneak through cleanly. And is it going to stay clean? Yes, only just. And that little bit of, what would you call it, wiggle there under braking, it felt beautiful through the wheel. And that's, you know, one of the things I'm really noticing with this wheel. Sort of those finer effects that I didn't notice before, you know, that numbness. And then the feeling when those tires, you know, get back to grip. You can feel it very clearly. The force feedback is so distinct. It's a great feeling. Oh, that's not a great feeling, is being overtaken into turn 1, which I very well may be. He's right there. Hold on to it, Mike.
Clear on the left.
But yeah, if I jam on the brakes, I can definitely feel a lot of what those front wheels are doing. And I don't know, I hear mixed opinions. I can't tell if sim racing generally likes the force feedback in ACC or not. I personally do. To me, it's among the best. Maybe the best. I don't know. Anyway, it's right there. Obviously, R Factor 2 has phenomenal force feedback. Automobilista 1 has phenomenal force feedback. And yeah, what was it? Where was I going with that? Oh yeah, anyway, I put ACC kind of in the upper tier of force feedback, and so I thought this would be a good testing ground. And to me, the proof of ACC's force feedback detail is when you run in the rain. If you ever mumbled my words there, if you ever start a career in ACC and the second or third sort of preseason test you do is taking the original Super Trofeo out to Monza in the wet, and every time you hit a puddle you get this beautiful hydroplaning feeling through the wheel, which reminds me I should try that with this wheelbase. But anyway, it's magnificently done, and really one of the best force feedback effects in sim racing, I believe. And yeah, so that kind of proved to me the level of force feedback detail that ACC can offer.
Waiting on the car ahead in sector 2. Well done, mate. This has been your personal best.
Alright, I think this might be the last lap, so I definitely will not get 5th place. But maybe I can get close to these guys, maybe close enough to get an overtake before the end of the race. Don't know. And yeah, it's got this great quick release too, this R21 and shaft system. It's something Fanatec, and I'm a big fan of Fanatec, but something they've struggled with for far too long is quick releases. You know, the QR1 is a decent quick release, but it's got that set screw, which to me is just death. Man, I really wish they had caught that before they released it. And we've been hearing about the QR2 for a very long time. I'm sure it will come to market at some point, but yeah, I haven't heard a date for that. But anyway, I think most of their wheels will still continue to ship with that standard, like screw-on style plastic quick release, and then maybe some of the nicer ones with QR1s. Hopefully those whoops, want to be second gear there. Hopefully some of those start shipping with QR2s, but who knows what's going to happen with that. But MOZA's been on it from the start. Like all their wheels, I don't think they offer sort of an entry-level quick release. Everything just has this cool wireless quick release. What's going on with my shifting? Oh, so close to being in the 145s. Final lap here. I'm not really gaining on that Porsche ahead. But I'm also not too far back, so maybe with some luck here, I can get close. Imagine what I could have done had I not spun. Hey, I'm a poet and I didn't even know it. These front wheels just did not want to bite. Alright, final lap. Let's push Mike, find that limit of grip. Which again, you can feel nicely through this wheel. So yeah, if you skipped ahead and are just looking for me to wrap up with some final thoughts here, I love this R21. I think it's fantastic, and looking forward to sharing my full review with you guys. Got my usual intro and what's included in the box, and good, neutral, bad to share with you. And that's, again, I think I mentioned this earlier, but that's all written. I just need to find the time to record it. Might even get some of that done after I finish this race. Time will tell. Alright, this guy is done like dinner.
Clear on the left.
Big time ABS effects for this R21 there. And I don't say that to brag. I say that because I messed that up badly, but somehow managed to salvage it. And speaking of salvage, I managed to salvage 9th place in this race, which I'm happy about considering it's been not that long ago. Alright, look for the full review soon. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know what you think of this beautiful R21.